Welcome back, casual gardeners. I've made my bed. Now it's time to plant in it. The lettuce that I started from seed in February is looking amazing. It's time for it to be able to spread its roots and grow. Spinach didn't do as well. I want to give it a chance as well. And I'm also going to be planting some radishes today. It's a pretty rad shirt, right? It's a radish shirt. So this is an example of the new merch that I have available on my channel store if you're interested in that sort of thing. No pressure. I'm not a high pressure salesman. I got dirty fingers already. I didn't just decide to plant my lettuce willy-nilly. I looked ahead at the weather for the next week or so, and I confirmed that I'm not expecting any hard frosts. Lettuce can tolerate a light frost, but a hard frost will kill it. And I'm going to space this quite a bit further apart than I would if I were planting from seed, because I don't have to thin anything. So I'm going to want 6 to 8 inches of spacing between each plant, except I am going to sneak in some radishes. Grab my first soil block here. So what I like about soil blocks is that I can just do that and they're planted. I don't need to worry about fighting to get them out of a pot at all, which can be a giant pain in the butt. And just slow you down, harsh your mellow, wreck your gardening vibe a little bit. Now this lettuce has actually been in soil blocks longer than it should have been because I've had some tricky weather and I did not want to risk it having put the effort into starting it. I should have transplanted it out a little bit sooner, which means maybe I started it a little bit early. One of my favorite things about having started all of this from seed early in the year in the greenhouse is that I'm able to go from an empty bed to a vibrant bed full of growth, and that makes my heart feel so good this early in the spring. I am 2-3 weeks away from fresh garden lettuce now. The thing about radishes is it doesn't really matter where you plant them in the spring, because I'm going to harvest these well before it's time to plant my summer crops. So I don't plan for radishes, I just kind of drop them in wherever. So these seeds are for Easter egg radishes, so they come in multiple colors. They're just a fun way to brighten up your spring salad. I'm going to try for about a 2-inch spacing, and I want my rows to be about 1 foot apart, which means I am going to be thinning because these are way closer than 2 inches. Now it's not necessary to plant in rows. You can scatter your seeds around and plant in big blocks of radishes. But the advantage of planting in rows is that it makes it really easy to see who is intentional and who is an uninvited guest. So I do recommend it, as it can make identifying weeds in your garden a lot more casual. I'm done with this bed for now, but I'm not quite done planting because I still have some kohlrabi to put out. Kohlrabi is another very frost-tolerant crop that I have started a whole month in advance. Now kohlrabi is a member of the cabbage family, and the plants can get pretty big, so I'm going to space it a lot farther apart. They also take a lot longer to mature, so I am going to need to account for my summer crops as I plant these. I am planning to put watermelon at the end of this bed and give it walkways to spread out into so that I can get my melons without sacrificing a lot of land, because I'm growing in raised beds and land is at a premium. So I'm going to leave a margin at the end here to give my watermelons plenty of room to put out their roots when the time comes to plant them. By that time, the kohlrabi should be tall enough that as the vines kind of move out, it's not going to smother them if I don't move it out of the way soon enough. Now you can't really see anything happening in this bed because everything in this bed is starting from seed. But along these trellises, these fence panels that I'm using as trellises, I have planted double rows of peas, and between them I planted fava beans. I've never grown fava beans. I don't know how successful I'm going to be. I'm very excited to have a chance to give it a try. This is also a really great time of year here in Zone 6 to consider planting a lot of perennials bare root. So in this bucket right now, I have a bundle of 20 Albion strawberries. They're soaking in water. If you're planting strawberries bare root, it's a really great idea to soak them for at least 12 and up to 24 hours before you put them in the ground. That will significantly increase your survival rate. I've also planted some bare root raspberries out in a bed that I cleared in a previous video. They are accessible by the deer, so we'll see how that goes. I didn't spend a whole lot on them. If all goes well, I get raspberries. Otherwise, I've learned a valuable lesson. This time of year, we can get some idea about whether our perennials actually survived the winter. This currant bush that I planted last year didn't do so well. It turns out grasshoppers really love to just eat all the leaves off a currant bush. And I was worried that it had not survived and I'd lost it, which is part of why I've got another currant plant in the greenhouse in a pot right now. By just checking one of these minor branches, I can give it a little break. And in this far, it doesn't break cleanly, and I can see some green tissue. I've done minimal harm to the plant, but I've just in that moment verified that yes, it's still alive. I'm happy to report that all of my currants and my grape vines have survived, and we can continue enjoying watching them grow here on my channel. And hopefully maybe this year I'm gonna get some currants to eat. I was also very concerned this year because frost heaving was bad in my garlic bed, and I thought I'd lost most of my garlic, but it turns out it's fine. It had put down roots over the winter, and those roots are still in sufficient contact with the soil that even the garlic bulbs that came all the way up are still, they're growing now. So I needn't worry. So that's a load off my casual little mind. As you're planting your transplants out in your garden, or as you plant from seeds, it's important to remember to water everything in. The seeds need it to just get started. Your transplants are going to need it to help compact the soil around their roots, fill in any air gaps, and just make sure they have the best possible chance at survival. Everything I've planted today is something that you can start from seed right now in Zone 6. So if you're excited to get that going, go right ahead. It's time. And remember, this shirt is a little rad. It's radish. Check out my merch shop to get one of your own. Make sure you've liked this video, subscribe to my channel. You know you want to do it. You know you want to. And as always, thank you for joining me here in my garden today. I hope you have a wonderful time in your own.